I get discouraged for sure. And I will quit fighting at some point. And that point is when the first shovel of dirt hits the top of my box 6 feet down.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Convention of States, COS Indiana Live. My name's Dale Parrish. I'm the virtual program coordinator for the state of Indiana here in Convention of States. So I want to welcome you to our broadcast tonight. We've got a great lineup for you tonight, and we're going to get into that lineup very, very quickly. But first of all, I want to bring on my co-host, Ken Kashuba. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Dale. How are you?
Good. Good to see you, buddy.
You too.
So Ken will be doing a couple things during our broadcast tonight. Ken will be monitoring our viewer comments and questions. So if you are viewing this evening through Facebook or through YouTube, feel free to submit a question or a comment. And Ken will be monitoring those and give me a high sign if he thinks we have one that's applicable. So that'll be what Ken will be doing. And he will, of course, also be helping me interview our various guests that we have lined up for tonight. So, Ken, this is broadcast number 220.
220.
You've been on board for 85 of these now. My goodness, Ken, I tell you.
I'm feeling old already. Now you're just talking about it there, Dale.
You're feeling old already? Okay. You just had a birthday fairly recently.
I did back in October. I'm a Libra.
Yeah, you did. And an anniversary even more recent.
An anniversary in November. November 6th was my 47th anniversary.
47.
I am old, aren't I?
You know, you say no, you're not. No, you're not. I've been married 58 years, so
it's all in how you think, how you think about it, right, Dale? I mean,
that's what I'm told. Yes,
young, yeah.
Well, Ken, give us a little brief synopsis on that little QR code up in the right-hand corner of the screen there. Tell everybody.
This little QR code up there, that is our new scan to subscribe. We want you to be able to pass this on to your friends, and we want to open up and share our program with those that would be interested in the topics and the things that we cover here at COS Indiana Live. It's a quick scan with your camera, and basically you put in your name, your email address, and we will get you on our email list, which we are cultivating now and getting ready to start putting out a monthly I think at this point a monthly update, or maybe a bi-weekly update on future programming and other things that we're doing here at COS Indiana Live. So we want to grow our subscriber list. That's what that QR code is all about.
That's right. We've got to give some more thought to that. And I like that. I like what you just said about giving people an update on upcoming broadcasts and what we're going to be including.
People want to know about all our guests. The guests we're having tonight. I'm sure once people see the programming tonight, they're going to want to know more. So
yeah, I think you're right. So good idea. All right. Good deal. Well, listen, Ken, I want to. Our first guest tonight is going to be Micah Beckwith. Micah is a pastor, and we wanted to get a theological perspective on what's happening in Israel. So we're going to bring Micah on. He's going to, like I said, he's going to be our first guest this evening. But I want to precede that with a video clip of our leader, Mark Meckler, who addressed a church in Crown Point, Indiana. When was that? Was that October, was it?
October 25th.
October 25th, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Livingstone Church, I think, is the name of it, in Crown Point, Indiana.
That's right.
And as a matter of fact, we're going to do a full segment on that presentation on December 4th. And I'll touch on that a little later again on our broadcast before we end tonight. But Ken has pulled a clip out of that presentation, and I want to play it for everyone. And again, I think this is a good introduction, a good lead into when we bring Micah on, so he can talk further about the theological perspective that we're trying to present here this evening. So, okay, Ken, I think we'll let me bring that up right now, and let's take a look. So it's less than 2 minutes. It's not that long. So here we go.
Sounds good.
That's less and less true for most people. This country is incredibly divided. The world is incredibly divided. I can't be up here and not speak about what's going on in Israel right now. I speak about Israel as a Jew because without Israel, there are no Jews. Jews will be wiped from the face of the earth without Israel. Israel is the reconstitution of God's chosen people in their nation, in the Holy Land, as God deemed it should be. And there are forces all across the earth that are attempting to wipe them out. And I can tell you, for me, that's very personal. What's going on in Israel is horrific. What's going on in America is horrific in regard to Israel right now. 61 years old, as a Jew in America, I've never felt unsafe. I don't feel safe anymore as a Jew in America. And I'm an out, proud, open Jew. I wear a Star of David everywhere I go. There's a cross in the middle representing where my heart belongs. But I wear this Star of David everywhere I go. People know that I'm Jewish. I talk about it. And I don't feel safe in my own countrymen. This is unbelievable. I never expected that I would see this. We see people marching in the street.
Very good clip, isn't it, Ken?
Mark was very had a lot to say, and certainly gave us some good insight to that. So I'm looking forward to hearing what Micah can add to it. I'm sure, and he's not a new guest to us. He's been on before, so I'm looking forward to hearing from Micah on this.
He certainly has, and we're gonna turn him loose here right now. So let's bring Micah on and let's get going. Hello, Micah.
Hey, how are you guys? Good to be with you again.
Good
to see you, Micah.
Thank you for coming on. Micah.
Absolutely.
I thought that clip was very good of Mark. Have you met Mark Meckler before?
Never met him, but I've definitely heard many of the things he's been speaking on, and certainly aligned with him on many issues. So appreciate his leadership in our nation.
Right, and he is Jewish. Of course, he's a Christian now, but he is Jewish. So
a messianic Jew.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, well, Micah, we wanted to bring you on. You are a pastor, and what church do you pastor?
Yeah, I'm at Life Church in Noblesville, Indiana. We have 4 campuses, but I'm at the Noblesville campus. So it's a multi-campus church, and it's growing. And we're expository in our preaching, which means we just go right through the Word, verse by verse. Right through the Scriptures, right through the Bible, verse by verse, and just tell you what God says about things. And I love that style of preaching. It kind of takes my opinion out of the equation and just kind of gives you what God says, and which is the important piece.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, I wanted to bring you on and kind of as the Mark Meckler clip indicated, we wanted to get if we could, we wanted to get a theological perspective on what's going on in Israel. And when I talked to you about this, you basically had 3 points that you wanted to make, and so I think we're just going to turn you loose here, and let you start. I know you wanted the first point, I think, was the spiritual truth that you wanted to address. So take it away, Micah. Take it away.
That'd be great. Thanks, Dale and Ken, for having me on. So there's a spiritual aspect to this that some people will try to look past, or they won't want to see, but there's a very real battle going on between demonic forces in our world. I mean, you can see what Hamas did on October 7th, and you can see demonic forces manifesting themselves, the manifestation of those forces here in the natural realm. It's easy to see evil. And you have to recognize that the devil and his demons and his minions, they will always hate Israel. And the reason is because God chose Israel right from the beginning of the time of Adam and Eve in the garden. God had a plan that Israel would be the chosen people. It would produce the seed of David, the root of David, which is Jesus Christ, the Messiah, and he would come to be the savior of the universe. It was actually called the proto-evangelium. It was the prophetic word that God spoke to the serpent when the serpent deceived Eve. And he said to the serpent, the woman's seed will crush your head and you will bruise his heel, speaking of Jesus' heel. And so even from the beginning, God had this all laid out, and he chose the Jewish people. Many archaeological scholars and historians believe the Jewish people were a small people. They were short, ancient Israel. And it's just like God to pick the shortest kind of runt of the litter amongst all the nations to do something incredible through. And so you see this incredible journey going all the way back from Abraham. God calls Abraham. He says in Genesis 12:3, he says, I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. And through you, I will bless all the nations. And this is where we are still today. That promise has not stopped. That promise hasn't come to fruition. It's not over. God still blesses people who bless Israel. Now, you may say, well, Israel it's not really the state of Israel. That means God's chosen people, which would be those who have accepted Jesus. I don't subscribe to replacement theology. There are some people that think that we as Christians have replaced the Jewish people. That's not what you see in the end times. God has grafted us into the Jewish covenant. He's grafted us into that first covenant as Gentiles, but he hasn't removed the covenant from the Jewish people. He's going to restore them and bring them into salvation. They have to accept Christ as their savior, just like everyone will, but there's a grafting in process. We see that in the end times with the 144,000 Jewish people that accept Jesus in the last days. And so there's a special place that God has in his heart for the Jewish people. And because God has a special place in his heart for those people, the devil will always hate those people more so than he hates everybody else. And that's what you're seeing unfold. The anti-Semitism, if you're a rational person and you look around and you see people screaming things like from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, this extermination call of the people of Israel. If you're rational and you look at that, you say, how can anyone buy into this? Well, it's because they've been spiritually blinded by the demonic forces that hate Israel with a passion. And so it's really important for good people, for Christians, for people who really believe in what God is doing, to stand with the Jewish people. Doesn't mean that Israel's always right. And I make a big distinction. Supporting Israel doesn't mean giving them a blank check to do whatever they want to do. They make mistakes. In the same way, supporting the United States Constitution doesn't mean we give politicians the blank check to do whatever they want to do, right? We have to hold people accountable. But sometimes people will say, oh, you support Israel, and therefore you think they can just do whatever they want. No, I'm going to hold them accountable to good moral standards, just like I would anyone else. But I'm going to stand with them because I know that God is very clear. Those who bless Israel will be blessed. And think about this too, and then we'll move on to the next point. We have never seen America being blessed the way we've been blessed since the 40s to now. There's never been a nation in history that's had that much growth and prosperity in that short of time frame in the history of the world. And I asked the question, why is America so blessed? How is it that we hit this growth spurt in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, 90s, 2000s? How is it that we've grown so big, so powerful? We've created such amazing technological marvels. How is that possible? And I go back to the one point in American history where Harry Truman stood up in front of the entire world in 1948, and he said, I am going to lead America to stand with Israel so that they can be reborn as a nation. And I think that is when the Lord said, I will bless America greatly, because America has just proven that they will put everything on the line to stand with my chosen people. And look how blessed we've been. And no nation has ever been wiped off the face of the earth, scattered for thousands of years, and then been reborn, except for one nation, and that's the nation of Israel. That tells me God is doing something great. And whenever God's doing something great, it's important that we get behind that movement. So that's the spiritual truth. And that's why it's so important for nations to stand with Israel, but also for individuals to stand with the Jewish people, because you too will be blessed because God's doing something great.
You know, I saw a recent interview with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and I think he said something very, very truthful, that this war that they're in, this defeat of Hamas, is they're not only defeating Hamas, but they're saving the world, really, because of the demonic, because of the whole culture that Hamas and Iran and all of them bring to the world and want to see in the world. It's not only the elimination of Israel, it'd be the elimination of America and whoever else.
Yeah, we're next. I mean, don't think that they're going to stop with Israel. Like, they're coming for us too. So we're very much in their sights.
So he's saying what they're doing is not only for their behalf, but it's also for the behalf of America and a lot of other free countries around the world. So
I agree with that.
All right.
Yeah. And then the next point too is I think I had the practical truth behind all of this, and that's kind of to what you were hitting on there, Dale. It's practically speaking, Israel's is the only democracy in the Middle East, and we have a Western nation that practices the principles of representation and democratic principles that we have seen work so well in the West, and if we don't stand with them and support them, then that nation, which is really a wall holding back all of that tyranny from the Islamic Republic of Iran, or from even Jordan and Turkey and Syria and Lebanon, that's just going to create a bigger problem for us as Americans. And so, practically speaking, standing with Israel is really good for American interests. And you said it really well, Dale. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu was he hit the nail on the head. If they don't take Hamas out, eventually Hamas is going to come to the States, and we're going to have to deal with Hamas. So we should be rooting for Israel to eradicate a Hamas from the face of the earth.
And I think he also made another very good point, and that is that not only do they have to eliminate Hamas, but they have to then change the culture of Gaza so that another Hamas doesn't evolve.
Yeah,
and that's going to be even probably a harder battle in a lot of ways. But
it will be. And I'll say this, maybe just as we wrap up, to I was in the kibbutz that was ravaged, ravaged. I should say ravaged instead. 10 months ago, it was the kibbutz called Kafr Azar. And I was about 1,000 yards from the wall of Gaza. And I asked them, I said, these people across that wall want to kill you. They want to murder you. They want to do wicked things to you. Like, how can you guys defend yourself if that were to ever happen? And this was such a good reminder for me on why the Second Amendment is important. They said right to us, well, we're not allowed to really carry weapons personally in Israel. We have the IDF and we have the police, and they'll protect us. And I said, I don't think I would put my trust in the IDF or the police.
I was astonished to learn that fact. Yes.
Yep. They can't. And here's the ironic thing is they all have to go through military training. When they're 18 years old, they all have to go through the military. So they all know how to use guns.
Right.
But yeah, they can't carry guns as individuals and be well armed to protect themselves. And I said to him, I said, guys, you are sitting ducks. You are going to rue the day when you made that decision. But the people in Israel are very left when it comes to their political ideology. They trust the government far too much for their protection. And we saw on October 7th, the government is not capable of protecting people as well as we would hope. And that's why the right to self-defense should always be a beacon of American exceptionalism, because we lose that and we're going to see things just like what happened on October 7th. They'll happen here too.
Yeah.
It's strange. We see the same type of voting on in the States here with the Jewish people. It's hard to understand why they vote the way they do.
It's a great question, Ken. I've been pondering that same thought. It's just spiritual blindness. That's the only thing I can chalk it up to, because how can you go along with the Harvards of the world? And now I think some of them are waking up because they're realizing it's like, wow, all these institutions that I've given my money to as a Democrat Jew, they actually hate my guts. Maybe I shouldn't give them money like I used to. So they're kind of waking up, and I think that's a good thing. But I thought the exact same thought.
Well, let's wrap it up here, Micah. I think the third point was that you wanted to make was we need to stand with Israel, right?
Yeah, that's right. And God will bless you personally. This is more of a personal call too, because while I said it earlier, it's important for nations to stand with Israel. God can see what nations do. He'll bless nations accordingly to their good works or their lack thereof. He'll dole out judgment on them. But the same is true for individuals. So God will bless you. God will bring good things your way if you stand with those that He's calling me to stand with. So, it's not, we don't serve to be served, but when we serve, God pours himself out on us and blesses us, and we get more than we could ever give. And that's just how, that's how good God is. He loves giving. You can't outgive God. And so when you stand with his people, Israel, and he's going to bless that. So,
all right.
Amen.
All right, Micah, thank you very much. Ken, have we any comments or questions that we need to?
No, I think everybody's just soaking it in like a sponge, and there are no questions, but they may pop up later on, or maybe we'll get some emails on it.
All right.
I do have one comment. I'll go ahead and show it because David is consistent. I will put up. This is from David Todd. He just says, "Shalom from Greenfield, praying for the shalom of Jerusalem and all of Israel." So,
amen. Amen. Amen.
Thanks for tuning in, David. Thank you. All right, Micah, once again, thank you very much and for coming on tonight. And we'll have you back again.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Good evening. Always enjoy having Micah.
Such an interesting, I mean, we could spend hours just on the history, and I know we don't have time to go into it all, but boy, it's fascinating. It really is.
I know Ken and I have been talking about, we haven't done a podcast in quite a while, and we're making some revisions to it, but we're going to crank it back up here again very, very soon. And I think we will definitely have Micah on as one of our featured guests on a podcast, and we'll spend a whole hour with him, and who knows what he might talk about then. Okay.
That's true.
All right. Well, listen, we got some time here. We're going to take a little break, and Ken, you got a new Marengo Mike's Corner.
I do, yeah. Marengo was busy. He's he's been busy doing lots of different things, but he was able to complete one for Thanksgiving. So,
and he's getting ready for Thanksgiving, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's see what Marengo Mike's got to say.
All righty.
Hello and welcome to another Marengo Mike's Corner. The month of November contains a time in America that contains the word thanks. We know it as Thanksgiving. There's a scripture verse in 1 Thessalonians 5 that tells us, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God concerning you. So, the word everything is not just the joys of life, but also the trials, for even those are found to give us strength. So, as we gather with family this Thanksgiving, ask each of those that are at your table to give one thing that they are thankful for. And remember that the trials we face in standing for our country today will strengthen us in the end. Happy Thanksgiving from Marengo Mike. See you next time. Bye-bye now.
Well, very good, Ken. I had not seen that, and
He was busy.
I don't think you'll get us in trouble this time. So,
Oh, you never know.
so good job, and good job of Marengo Mike. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yep.
Well, let's jump right into our next segment, and we have with us a young man from the state of Ohio, and let's bring him on right now. Hello, Bill.
Hello, Dale. Hello, Ken.
Hi, Bill.
It's
Everyone.
nice to be called a young man. Thank you.
Yeah, no one calls me young man anymore. I'm not sure what it is, Bill, but
Well, when they do, you never answer. That's the problem.
But this is Bill Scott, everyone, and Bill is, as his name tag indicated, Bill is the state director for the neighboring state of Ohio. So we're trying to, our state, Indiana, is in now a region with Ohio, Michigan, Iowa, Minnesota. Who am I forgetting? Wisconsin. And so we've had the state directors on for, well, I think all but Minnesota right now. So I've been trying to bring on the state directors and introduce them to everyone. We're also trying to kind of branch out and get out beyond Indiana. So, Bill, we want to take some time here to get to know you and see what's going on in Ohio. I know there's one topic that we want to touch on for sure, but Bill, give us just a brief idea of your early life. Where were you? Were you born and raised in Ohio, or what? Tell us about that.
Okay, sure. No, I was not born and raised in Ohio, but I'll turn the tables on you, Dale, and ask you and Ken if you are country music fans, if you know Jason Aldean's song, "Try That in a Small Town." Do you know that song?
I've seen that. Yes, I've seen
You very well. Yep, it's a great song.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a great song. I love it. I'm not really a country fan, but I'm becoming more of a country fan after listening to some of his music. I grew up in a small town, and I identify with a lot of stuff that he had in his music. And my town was probably less than 1,000 people up in northeastern Pennsylvania, right on the border with New York State, right where the three states come together: New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, the tri-state area, a little town there. And that's where I grew up, went through high school all those years. I started working, as many of my friends did, at age 10 with a paper route that lasted a couple of years. And graduated. Yep, we all had paper routes.
Been there, done that, yes.
Yep. And then graduated to my lawnmower business, had a route of lawns that I would do. And then graduated into resort work, where I was a dishwasher, not bartender, but a bar, bellhop, not a bar, a bellhop, a lifeguard, a groundskeeper, everything you could think of in a resort setting on the edge of our town. That kept me busy till I went off to college at Penn State University. And that's not my early life, but that took me into my college years to study to become an accountant. So that's what I did, became an accountant, a CPA, joined an international CPA firm, no longer in existence, unfortunately, called Arthur Andersen. It was the largest in the world.
Yeah.
one of the biggest of the Big Eight, the biggest of the Big Eight,
Yeah.
and unfortunately went out of business.
I remember that name very well. So you were a Nittany Lion, huh?
I was. That's where I met my bride, who I heard you fellows talking about your wedding anniversaries, and we just had our 50th wedding anniversary this past July.
Congrats.
Yeah, and I met her in her final term at Penn State, so that's
Good
the best
for you.
thing I can say about my 4 years in Happy Valley and at Penn State.
You don't hear too many as many 50-year anniversaries as you used to. So you hang in there, Ken. You'll make it.
I'm trying.
All right. Bill, tell us. I always like to ask leadership individuals that come on our program to tell us your COS story. That how, when, where you got involved in COS. So give us a little idea what that was all about.
Sure. Well, like many folks in the organization, my roots are with Mark Levin, but I'll start with a different root. It really started with our friend Rush Limbaugh. I was an avid Rush Limbaugh listener and fan, and I got introduced to Mark Levin through the Rush Limbaugh show. And I just loved whenever he would come on. He was referred to affectionately by Rush as F. Lee Levin, as an homage to that great attorney, F. Lee Bailey. And I just was mesmerized whenever Levin was talking. He always had a way about him, and I just loved listening to him, and I learned an awful lot about the Constitution.
Was Rush ever a pure advocate for convention of states? I mean, was he an endorser?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah. But, I think if he were still with us today, that he would, especially with his trusted confidant, F. Lee Levin, telling him it's the right thing to do. So I'm sure Rush would be with us today if we needed him. He probably was with us, but maybe couldn't say for various reasons. So anyway, Levin was my inspiration. I, of course, got his book, The Liberty Amendments, and read that, and followed his career and listened whenever he mentioned that. I had been living in Minnesota at the time when I first decided to get involved with Convention of States, but I also knew I was very close to moving to Ohio. So I waited till I moved to Ohio 6 years ago, and probably within 2 weeks of arriving, I said, okay, I'm going to sign the petition and get involved. And that's what I did. And the follow-up process worked like a charm. I was contacted within the same day by a district captain, and we had a nice conversation. And, he says, I think you need to talk to our state director. I didn't, I wasn't calling him. I was just offering to volunteer. So he said, well, you can probably expect a call from him. So within the next 24 hours, I got a call from the state director. And said,
who was the state director?
It was my predecessor, actually. Mike Mowry is his name.
Okay.
And Mike was my predecessor for a couple of years, and he had to step down for various business and other reasons, and has stepped away for a few years. And I just hired him back as a regional captain last month.
Did you really? Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So it's really nice to have somebody like that in your back pocket as a former state director coming back as a regional director, and we're very, very fortunate to do that.
Good
so
for you.
Anyway, I talked to Mike, and he said, "Well, I think you have some skills and you have some interests. What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, what do you need?" And he said, well, we always need district captains. You can be a district captain. Doesn't even have to be your own district somewhere nearby. We can always use those. He says, we also really need a legislative liaison to help the current legislative liaison we have. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I became a legislative liaison right out of the box, not having gone through the traditional, volunteer, district captain, whatever. Came right in as legislative liaison. So I guess I kind of went past the COS story into what I did, but
that's okay, because the next topic was the different roles that you've served in, and you covered quite a few. It's just
they needed somebody when I was a legislative liaison. I wasn't the only one, so they needed a regional captain in Southwest Ohio for someone who had left. And so they said, how about becoming our regional captain? So I did. And I did that for about 3 years, and just turned that over 2 years ago when they asked me to become state director. When I mentioned my predecessor had to step down from business reasons, and we're glad he's coming back as a regional captain. I can't tell you how wonderful that is.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, you have followed my pattern as well. Mark Levin was my inspiration, and just like you, I started as a district captain, then region captain, then served as state director for 6 years. So that's kind of how state directors evolve through convention of states, and I think it's the best way really for state directors to come about. So, Ken, we got any comments or questions from anyone yet?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. We do not.
Okay. Well, Bill, I want to talk about what you have on the future for Ohio, but take a minute, if you would, please, and tell us about what happened on the abortion issue in the state of Ohio. We were all, I think, very saddened to see how that turned out.
Very saddened by that. Yep. As you may know, we are not a pass state. We are what's known as a harvest state, meaning that we should be passed. We should be getting there. We hope to pass. But past states have a lot of latitude to do issue and advocacy and get involved in other things besides the core COS mission. Well, we actually got to do some of that too, even though we're not passed yet. And one of the things we did this year is we got involved with 2 campaigns. The first one was last August, which was the precursor, I will, to what happened in November. And that was, there was a special election in August to try to get the state constitution threshold changed from the current 50% plus 1 is all it takes for voters in Ohio to change the state constitution. And just think about that. U.S. Constitution is 75% to change it. Most other states are 60 or 66 2/3. Very few are 50% plus 1. We're one of those. So our legislators tried to get a special election knowing that this abortion issue was coming up in August. And so we worked that campaign to try and get people out to say, yes, we want to change the Constitution. So it now requires 60%, not 50 plus 1. We worked that very hard. Our grassroots made tons of phone calls, did block walking, did telepatriot, did texting, everything. And unfortunately, we came up short, not we, but the whole state did. I mean, we were joining many other, mostly conservative groups, but libertarian, many groups just thought that this was a good thing to do, irrespective of the abortion issue coming down the pipe. So we lost that issue. It was lost by about, maybe 10, 11 points, and it was unfortunate. So that meant that the abortion question, which is called Issue 1, had gotten enough signatures from the voters to get it on the ballot in November. And the voters could then say, do you want unlimited abortion with no restrictions in Ohio? And that's basically the question. There's other things with it too, but such as parental rights are eroded with this new law. So we worked that very hard too to try and get that vote defeated. And again, we made probably 58,000 texts. We did 25,000 emails in multiple rounds. We did 4,000 telepatriot calls. We did block walking, flyer drops, working with other groups, and
wow.
A lot of momentum. And I will say,
wow,
you just had a pastor on just previous to me. One of the things that I noticed in the difference between August, when we were fighting the constitutional question, to November, which was the actual ballot question, the churches finally woke up. They should have woke up back in August and start talking about it from the pulpit.
Really? Yeah.
Much more of that happened for the November election. But it
Bill, do you know? Did you have a big opposition from just local media and you know, the statewide media in that battle? Was there a large amount of advertising that went against you?
Yes, yep, absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. The supporters who wanted this to pass outspent those of us who were opposing it about 2 to 1 in advertising dollars, and probably multiples of that in other forms of spending that not media. But yes, they definitely had the money advantage. It was mostly out of state, and they've done analysis, and 80-90% of the money came from places like Washington, D.C., California, Hollywood, all the usual Soros type places, I guess.
Wow.
That's unfortunate, but that's the reality. So we were outgunned in that manner, and then they really got their folks out with this, basically the youth vote and the folks who want no restrictions on abortion. So we were the only abortion ballot question this cycle in November. And the sad part is, come 24 next year, with this template in place now, the folks that want this are going to try this in more than half a dozen different states for next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd really like to see that Soros money dry up.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right. Well, Bill, that's got to be pretty much a wrap on this segment. So I know you got other things going on in Ohio, and I know you're planning a broadcast or a podcast or a live stream kind of similar to what we're doing now. I know that's in the works in your state. So maybe we'll have you come back on and give us another update at a later time.
Very good. We appreciate that.
All right, Bill.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill.
Let me get Bill okay off of there. All right.
We might have to do a simulcast with that one of these days there, Bill, Dale.
Hey, that's an idea. Yeah. Yeah, we just had their state communications coordinator, your counterpart there, Diana Tullis, was a guest on here not too long ago.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have both her and Bill on at a later time.
It'd be kind of fun. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then to our final segment this evening. And this is going to be a real treat. We always try to, when we get new district captains, we always try to bring them on and introduce them to everyone. So I'm going to bring on actually a husband and wife team. And let's bring them on right now. Hello, Bob. Now, Bob, you didn't input Heather's name on that name tag, did you, Heather?
We're actually on Heather's computer, so that was.
That was me.
Oh, Heather did. Geez, I was
going to say Bob's not getting dinner tonight.
Good thing we already ate.
Well, I'll put it up here.
There we go.
Bob and Heather Butts, and they are a husband and wife team, and we really enjoy seeing that. It's really very good to see that. Now, guys, you are district captain for House District 23, right?
Yes.
Give us some sense as to where that district is located in the state of Indiana.
Okay, it's mostly Cass County. It includes Logansport, Grissom Air Reserve Base, and Peru, the Circuit City. It does not include Kokomo, so the dividing line is just north of Kokomo, and it does not include Wabash to the east.
Okay. Now, Bob, I know you're retired Air Force, right?
Yes, I am.
Did you have a connection with Grissom? Is that kind of where?
Actually, yes, I was an Air Force brat. My dad was in the Air Force, and he was stationed at Grissom, and so that's what brought me to Indiana when I moved here after my sophomore year of high school.
Okay. So that area was kind of home to you, right? Then is that what you're saying?
Well, actually, I fell in love with Indiana when when I got here, and of course I was gone once I graduated from high school. I was gone for 35 years, but I happened to meet Heather, and she was born and raised in Peru. Her family is still here, and we kept coming back to visit. And about 2.5 years ago, we made the decision that we wanted to come back.
Ah, okay. So it's Heather's fault that you're in now.
Well, you can speak too. She swore she'd never come back, and especially when you consider where we were living before we came here. We were in Hawaii. We lived in Hawaii for a total of 13 years, and I thought we'd never leave there. But about 3 years ago, when COVID was raging, and it was almost, it was very difficult to get on or off the island. Our kids were all graduated from high school and moved away. So we decided it was time to go back to the mainland, where we could have a lot more freedom to see our friends and family and to be able to travel and not have to wear a mask everywhere we went. So we were done with the tyranny in Hawaii.
And you don't have to buy a case of suntan lotion every month either, right?
Right.
Well, we do kind of miss that.
Heather, I swore when I left my hometown that I never wanted to come back, and there were many times when I wish I had, but that's another story.
We're happy to be back.
Happy.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Good for you. Tell us, guys. Tell us your COS story. How, when, where you got involved with the Convention of States.
Well, I think it was probably late December or January. We were watching Tucker Carlson live, the episode he interviewed Mark Meckler, and we both were very impressed. I was familiar with, we were supporters of the Tea Party, way back in the day, and to hear Mark talk about how, his experience with the Tea Party and how the politicians that they worked so hard to get elected either sold themselves out or didn't do what they promised they would do, and how he decided that it was better to focus on the process rather than the personalities. And I thought that was great. So we signed up to be volunteer activists, but it turned out that there happened to be a vacancy for district captain.
I'm the volunteer activist. You're the district captain.
So I was talked into being the district.
Guys, I just a thought that popped in my mind. Were your parents, Heather and Bob, were your parents conservative? I mean, were they? Did you kind of?
Yes, they are conservative in their minds, but politically, for a very long time, they were registered. Other than that,
Is that
really?
Mom and dad both?
Yeah, and now
definitely
they're
her
not.
mom.
Now they're registered.
And my dad has always been conservative. I think my mom was a Democrat for a while, but she became a Republican also. But funny story about her mom, she was a lifelong Democrat and really hated Donald Trump until she saw him speak at our daughter's graduation from the Air Force Academy in 2019. And then that was what basically made her open her eyes, I guess, and see what was really going on. And she's now registered Republican.
Yep.
Yeah, my mom was a Democrat. My dad was a Republican. I know they canceled each other's vote every election. Anyway, you mentioned the Air Force Academy. I want to get this out. I want everybody to understand this and know this. You've got a son that's a senior at the United States Air Force Academy, right?
Yes.
And tell us about your daughter and her husband.
Okay. They our daughter graduated from the Air Force Academy in 2019. She's kind of a freak of nature, I think, because she was a distinguished graduate. She graduated number 32 in her class. She's got a civil engineering degree with a minor in Japanese. And when she graduated in 2019, she went to pilot training, and she met her her now husband at the academy, and they both went to pilot training at separate bases, but they are now both flying the F-16 at Misawa Air Base in Japan.
Wow.
Amazing. Isn't that amazing, Ken?
Yep.
That is, you guys got to be very, very proud.
We are indeed.
We are. But as a mother, I'd prefer for her to be a civil engineer.
on the ground, huh? Staying on the ground. Yes, I understand. All right. Okay. Bob and Heather, district captains, we want you to make contact with your state legislators. Who are your state reps and state senators?
Our state senator is Stacy Donato in Senate District 18, and she is. We've tried to contact her, but we're gonna try extra hard.
Yeah.
Now, but I look forward to getting to know her because I've read her biography, and she's an accountant, like not a CPA like Heather, but she's Catholic. We're both Catholic. She lives in Logansport, and I'd like to get to know her.
Yeah.
And then our representative is Ethan Manning, and he was born in Peru, same town that Heather was born in.
Oh, okay.
So we have connections, and we have tried to contact both of them, but we have not heard back from them.
Yeah, it's not always an easy thing to do, but it's a very important thing to do, and you want to become the COS contact for them in case they ever have any questions about COS or anything. So
yeah, it'll happen in time.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, tell us quickly here. We're gonna gotta wrap things up here. What kind of objectives have you set for yourself for your district going forward here? Looking at 2024.
Well, what we've done so far is we had one gathering at our house. We had a COS meeting and gave presentation and had, I think we got probably 12 or 15 petition signers out of it. And our vision was that we wanted to have regular meetings like that and have those people come back and maybe bring a friend, and we could grow it and it would become a regular thing. But the frustrating part is that didn't happen. So we are constantly looking for social opportunities. Like Saturday morning, we connected with some of my classmates from high school and had breakfast, and we're hosting the next one at our house on January 6th.
Oh, okay.
So just looking for opportunities to get people together and talk, and any chance we get, we try to tell the story.
Okay.
So
are there any activities on Grissom that you could participate in?
I'm sure there probably is.
Yeah.
We go to the gym there, and I've met the maintenance group commander.
Yeah.
So I do have a connection there.
Okay. All right.
Maybe you'll have to have a block party and promise everybody that you'll have 2 F-16s buzz the party.
Yeah.
We do have a comment from our state director. I want to go ahead and post up for you.
Okay.
So that's our
from
leader, Dale Tipton, our state director, says, welcome to the family, Robert and Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good deal. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming on, and best of luck to you. I think you both are going to be great for Convention of States here in Indiana. I want to take this opportunity to let everyone know, if you're viewing this evening, and if you're in Bob and Heather's district, House District 23, and you would like for them to contact you, drop us an email at raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com, raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. Ken and I monitor that account every day, and give us your contact information, and we'll be happy to pass that on to Bob and Heather and let them follow up with you. So, guys, I want to thank you again for coming on this evening.
Thank you.
We're planning, everybody. We're planning on December 18th to have a program broadcast dedicated to retired veterans, and Bob has agreed to participate in that with us. And we may even get his son, if we can get the proper approvals, I guess.
Yes.
But we may get his son. He's going to be home at that time. So that's December 18th. So looking forward to that as well. So, guys, once again, thank you very much for coming on this evening. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having
Good
us.
to see you. Have a good night.
Great husband and wife team there, Ken.
Yeah, it's always good to see the teams come together like that. So
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
good people. Good people.
No kidding. No kidding. Well, listen, Ken, you want to give us another quick shot on the QR code?
Sure will. That QR code right there. You got to get your camera out, scan it, and submit. It's a name and an email address, and we'll add you to our subscription list, which is growing, and we're putting it together and hope to kick that off here. I think December might be the first month we actually start getting responses out to people who signed up for that. So we're looking to grow that list. It's an easy way to share the programming information, and we have lots of, well, we're jotting down a lot of ideas on what else we can do with that list, but certainly not plague you with emails. Just keep you updated to what we're doing here at COS Indiana Live.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, Ken, today's the 20th. Our next broadcast is going to be on the 27th, a week from tonight, and this will be our roundtable. Every fourth Monday, we change the format of our broadcast, and we change that to a panel discussion format. And the topic that we're going to be discussing come next Monday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, is the administrative state. I have no idea what we're going to be talking about there. There's not much to say there, I wouldn't think. Would you think?
Not at all.
There's a whole lot of things for us to talk about, and it ought to be a good panel discussion.
I hope John can keep us all under control.
Yes. The host for this is John Ackerman. John's been doing this for a while for us. Does a great job. So you'll definitely want to tune in to that next Monday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So now, after next Monday comes our following broadcast, which is on December 4th. And in that broadcast, we're going to have, we had Micah Beckwith on tonight about Israel. And we played a little clip from Mark Meckler's message at Livingstone's Church in Crown Point. Well, we're going to do a full segment on that message, that address that Mark presented at Livingstone's Church. And we're going to have the region captain that set that up, or helped set it up, Chris Takas. And Chris is going to help us kind of walk us through the presentation. And we think we're gonna have the video ready to go?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's actually a little bonus segment I had to talk about tonight, and that is the videos are done. And I know our fearless leader has been asking questions as to when this is going to be available, because I know he's been getting plagued with questions. So
has he? Okay.
Both are done. I have them. I have it split into two segments. I had to do it in two segments. So the first segment talks a little bit about Mark's beginnings and how he basically his testimony. And then the second part is how he delves into Convention of States and our situation here in America. So I tried to shorten them as best I could, but I couldn't leave a whole lot out, so I had to cut it into two segments.
All
But
right.
they are both done.
Okay. Good for you. Good for you. Well, on December 4th, we're also going to have our state director, Dale Tipton, is going to brief us on the 2024 goals that we've set for ourselves for Convention of States here in Indiana.
Great.
And Ken, I think one of our region captains, Larry Hudson, has been doing some research on our founders. And I'm not sure what he's got put together here, but he says he's got some things that he wants to talk about. So
Well, good. I always like to hear what Larry's been digging up.
Larry has always got something to talk about.
We can get into the weeds with Larry, so that's okay.
Yes. So we'll develop that between now and December 4th. But I've got him on the schedule for December 4th. All right. Okay. I want to once again, I want to show the email address for everyone. raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. So raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. Any question that you have about anything on the broadcast tonight, comments, questions, anything, please let us know. So we're going to sign off now, and we're going to wind up the broadcast with a Mark Meckler video, the full video of I'll Never Quit Fighting. It's a very good video. And once the video is over, then our broadcast will end. So, Ken, thanks for coming on tonight. And have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, please do.
Almost forgot to say that. So
came upon us so fast,
Yeah. Gobble gobble.
Yeah.
So let me bring up that video, and Ken, have a good Thanksgiving. Good night, everyone.
You too. Good night, Dale. Good night, everybody.
I struggle to empathize with people who would give up. It doesn't make sense to me. Sam Adams said, for those of you who prefer safety and security over liberty, over the animating fight for liberty, I hope that you enjoy licking the hands that feed you. May your chains rest lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you are our countrymen. Like, do you understand that your kids and you are sentencing your kids and your grandkids and your friends' kids and your neighbors' kids to a lifetime of slavery and servitude, literally, of fear, of living in the darkness? But never, ever, never, never, never give up. George Washington lost the majority of his battles that he fought in the American Revolution. If you read his writings, if you read the letters where he was writing to Congress asking for money and troops, he was saying, we're losing. I don't have the troops I need. I don't have the supplies I need. Did he quit? What about the guys on the beach at Normandy? Like, what did they do? Did they just quit? Oh, there's, a lot of guys are dying around me. It's really bad. It looks really dismal. Those cliffs are huge. Machine gun fire raining down on us. And it's too hard. We should just quit. Thank God those people didn't quit. If they had, where would we be? I get discouraged, for sure. And I will quit fighting at some point. And that point is when the first shovel of dirt hits the top of my box 6 feet down.